Hi, this is Ann with Finance on the Offense, and today I'm going to go over 7 habits or traits of wealthy people, and these are actually not my ideas. I got them from a book called The Millionaire Next Door by Stanley and William Danko. Those two guys interviewed a bunch of millionaires and found these 7, not necessarily habits or traits, but really kind of factors that they noticed pretty much across the board with all these millionaires that they interviewed. And some of them are pretty surprising and not really what you'd expect. I'm going to go over each of these 7 habits or traits, and maybe you can kind of adopt them in your own life. All right, let's get started. Okay, first up, they live below their means. So this means, if they make $70,000, they don't spend $70,000. Maybe they're only spending $50,000 a year, leaving them with money to save and invest. Of course, this can be a hard thing to do if you have a lot of debt, but most of these people try to avoid debt throughout their lives so they didn't have to deal with that. The second thing is that they allocate their time and money efficiently. They notice that these millionaires are spending 10 hours a month or so focusing on ways to increase their money. So maybe that's time researching investments, or just figuring out new ways to make money, or just time spent balancing their current allocations. The third thing is they value financial independence over social status. Some people, when they see their friends buy a new car or a new boat, they think, hey, I've got the money and I like that nice thing too, so I'm just going to go ahead and buy that. And so they do. But the problem is this habit of always buying the latest thing over time is really going to degrade your possibility of becoming a millionaire. What the authors noticed when they interviewed these guys is that they just didn't care what other people had. They didn't care about keeping up with the Joneses or buying all the latest gadgets. Or they did, but they just didn't care as much as being financially independent. So really it comes down to priorities. Do you care what people think of you, or do you care how much money you have? The fourth factor is that their parents didn't provide them with financial outpatient care. And what this means is that their parents didn't give them money if they got into some kind of financial jam. And this one really feels backward, doesn't it? You would think that giving your kids money when they need it would actually help them in life, but it turns out that it's the opposite. I can actually speak to this. After I graduated high school, there were several times that I needed money, and so I would ask my parents, and they wouldn't just give it to me, but they always let me have an interest-free loan that I could pay back whenever I wanted. Now, I thought this was great at the time, but looking back, I can see that it hindered my development as an adult. And once I stopped running to them every time I had a financial problem, I noticed that I was able to figure things out on my own, maybe take on some extra hours at work, or just basically do whatever it took. And then interestingly enough, my financial situation improved quite a lot. This just might have had something to do with me viewing myself as an independent, strong woman and then making choices accordingly. Number 5 is that the adult children of these millionaires are economically self-sufficient. Now, not all adult children are going to be able to support themselves. There are definitely situations where that's just not possible. However, if they're not able to, that's unfortunately going to negatively affect the financial situation of the parents. The 6th factor is that they're good at finding and acting on economic opportunities. If a great investment comes along, let's say there's a cheap foreclosure that they are pretty sure they can fix up and rent out easily, they jump on it. Or let's say the stock market falls 30% in one day. That's probably going to be a pretty good time to buy stocks. Basically, they're able to recognize a good money-making opportunity and then take it on along with the risk that comes with it. The final factor is that they chose the right profession, meaning one that makes a lot of money. Or they found one that they're so passionate about, even if it doesn't pay much, they figure out other ways to make money, like, starting a YouTube channel or something. Eventually, over time, they know that it will add to their income. All right, so those are the 7 things that the authors noticed about these millionaires that they interviewed. And if you want to be a millionaire too, you might try to find a way to incorporate a couple of these into your own life. Alright, if you like this video and you want to see more videos like it, just hit the subscribe button and the little bell next to it and you'll be notified every time a new video comes out. Alright, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you!